Sinners is directed by Ryan Coogler and stars Michael B. Jordan, Hailee Steinfeld, and several other big names, and is Coogler's first fully original work, coming fresh off of many IP franchises like the Black Panther movies and the first Creed movie, and even his first movie, Fruitvale Station, was based off of true events. But this is his first original work, written and directed solely by him, straight from his mind. Look, I'm just going to come out and say it. This is one of the best films of the year thus far. It was one of my most anticipated, and it did not disappoint at all. This is an incredibly crafted piece of work. You know, everybody complains how there's nothing original in Hollywood anymore. There's nothing original coming out in a time full of remakes and prequels and sequels and spin-offs and what have you. Here we have something that feels fresh and honest, but is genuinely exciting and just one entertaining thrill ride of a movie. Michael B. Jordan, who has worked with Coogler in the past on almost every film he has done, say except for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but that's just because his character didn't make it to it, stars his twin brothers Smoke and Stack here, who have both struck it large up north in Chicago, working in the Al Capone circuits following their stint in World War II fighting in the trenches, and they've returned home to Mississippi, where the Jim Crow ways of the 1930s hang heavy over the land and the black folks that live there. Scores of cotton fields and remnants of slavery thickens the air, and the KKK is still very much at large and a real threat to their way of life. Michael B. Jordan has never been better, and here playing Jack and Jill roles as both of the brothers who want to start their own blues joint, their own juke joint, if you will. They spend some time gathering up some folks they know, starting off with their cousin Sammy, played by the amazing Miles Caton, who absolutely shines in his first movie role. Yes, this is his first. Prior to this movie, he did not even have a photo on IMDb, but trust me, he will now, because he will definitely be getting some work after this. The film also stars in supporting performances Wunmi Musaku, Tinaj L. Jackson, Hailee Steinfeld, Delroy Lindo, Jack O'Connell, and many others. The casting of the movie really is just spot on. What I found to be so refreshing and frankly unexpected about this movie is that it really takes its time setting things up. Like, all of the grotesque carnage and stuff that you clearly see happens in the trailer doesn't happen until about the last 30 minutes of the movie. By that time, though, you feel like you know every single one of these characters so well. They've been fully developed and realized and fleshed out to the point that when the flesh actually starts ripping and the evil descends upon them, you feel for them. You really do. Now, the trailers kept it pretty obscure about what exactly was going on in the movie, whether it was like zombies or vampires or haints, as they say in the movie, or what the deal was. But I had a feeling, and yeah, it's vampires. This is a vampire movie, but it's so much more than that. This is a rough, dirty, sweaty, bloody, and beautiful looking period piece. This is a celebration of African American culture, African American roots and history, and also a celebration of music, most notably blues music. Music is actually a huge part of this movie. I would almost classify this as a musical if it had just been a little more prominent in there. I mean, there are a lot of musical sequences that go on for a long while, and there's these amazing one takes all throughout the film at different parts, and they're perfectly scored. One of my favorite scenes in the entire movie involves a one take where Sammy is playing his guitar at their new club that they just opened. And it's one singular take that transcends you through the spiritual world of the past and the future of black music and its evolution, while at the same time remaining in the present at the party. I thought it was one of the most ingenious shots in a film that I've seen in quite some time. I've heard some people comparing this movie to the movie From Dusk Until Dawn, in that it's almost two movies in one. The first half of the movie is a really well fleshed out drama. The second half is a full out vampire gore fest. I also kind of feel the same way about the film that I did From Dusk Until Dawn, in that some of my favorite moments of the movie were before the vampires showed up. Case in point, that one single long take I was just telling you about in the club. It is a transcendence and a shot through time. The drama and the characterization is also just so well done prior to the main conflict even happening that by the time it actually happens, it pays off in a big way. Coogler is crafty and coy with what he chooses to give us. Even when the bloodletting starts, he still backs it up from time to time and doesn't give it all to us too soon. He doesn't give it all away right up front. Now, if I have to give some negatives for the film, I will just say that I really wish that they had not shown some of the stuff they did in the trailer. Like, for instance, it's in the trailer, when Hailee Steinfeld turns into a vampire. Even when I saw that out of context, it felt like they were showing too much. But I knew I could be wrong. It could just be a setup or something. But now that I've actually seen the movie and I know who her character is and the role she plays, it would have been a lot better if we hadn't known that going in. I try to avoid movie trailers as much as possible. I just like to take enough of a glimpse that it interests me. But yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, that's kind of annoying. Also, the film has a very heavy kind of darkened contrast to it, which bodes well with the type of film that's being made here, but the extreme red and orange contrast and how dark he makes it to where you sometimes can't see the actors' faces sometimes, especially Michael B. Jordan's in particular, because the two characters he plays, they wear hats for a lot of the movie, and with that darkened contrast over it, it's sometimes hard to see his face. It's just something I noticed, but it's nothing that kills the movie for me or anything. Okay, breakdown. Here's what you are going to get if you go to this movie. A Depression-era period piece. A celebration of black culture and blues music set inside a horror flick. A movie that takes its time and doesn't treat its audience like they're stupid. A lot of gore. Always a plus. Top-tier filmmaking and top-tier performances. What more can I say? This is really just a spectacular work from a spectacular director and a spectacular cast and a spectacular production. This is one of my favorite movies of 2025 so far. I'm going to give Sinners a 9.1 out of 10. Thank you all so much for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.